Welcome to Don't Take This Personally,
a podcast about the business of creativity.
We are your hosts, Cami Oliveria
and Gabe Conover.
Welcome back to another spicy episode.
Key phrase, spicy.
Key
phrase.
Always. We just want to do a little quick reminder that we get on Clubhouse every Tuesday morning between the hours of 10 and noon PST to talk about the previous week's episode. Follow us on Instagram at don'ttakethispersonally.podcast to get the exact time, because life happens and it changes sometimes.
And if you are a consistent listener and you love what you're hearing every single week, it would mean a lot to us if you would just leave us a 5-star review. Tell us what you love about our podcast to help us get the word out and just to make us feel good, because
good reviews only.
We only accept good reviews.
Yes. And before we get started, I just wanted to throw in a quick word from our sponsor over at Freedom Edits.
I was trying to make it sound like a trumpet. Freedom Edits.
You know, if there is any company that should be Cami and I's first sponsor, it should be Freedom Edits, because they have been saving our lives and saving us time for the past 2 to 3 years.
We wouldn't have this podcast without them.
We would not have this podcast without them. We would not have lives without them outside of our jobs. And don't you want a life outside of your job?
Like, why else do we get into this?
Right.
Besides for, like, freedom.
Right.
Is that why they call it Freedom Edits?
Dude, you didn't know that? Oh my God. Of course it is.
Wow. Well, it's
so
true.
If you want to be set free from the hours and hours of editing that you do every single week, all you have to do is go to freedomedits.com/don'ttakethispersonally. They will give you a free onboarding call where you can just show them exactly how you edit your photos. They'll edit 20 photos for you for free. Right off the bat. We're getting good at hyping each other up.
For free, son!
And then they'll also give you a 50% off your first order with promo code CamiGabe.
Please just try one time.
Yeah.
Just try. It's not as scary as you think.
Right.
If I can tell you one thing about outsourcing, it's that it's really not as scary as you think.
And that is the truth.
That is the truth, son.
Now, moving forward, today's episode is all about inquiries, getting ghosted, and how we, respond to our inquiries.
How to deal, how to respond.
Yep. How to cope.
Okay, well, I think the easiest way to start is for you to take it away. Talk about your process from the time someone goes to your site through booking.
Wonderful.
What's the inquiry process like?
Great. Now, first little disclaimer is, remember, everyone is different. And the most important thing that you need to do when it comes to how you handle inquiries is really figure out how you thrive and what forms of communication you thrive off of best. For me personally, it is nonstop talking. I could talk to people 4 hours, forever. I literally never run out of questions to ask people. So I see this, strength in me, and I try to capitalize off of it as much as possible. So the way that I completely handle inquiries from start to finish starts with my contact form, obviously. Every question on my contact form is specific and intentional in getting information that I need from them, and also communicating different little things about me that are important. So when people reach out, they realize, like, oh, this is the type of stuff that Gabe really loves. Is that something that aligns with who I am, aligns with who we are as a couple? Do we think that this type of person is going to be able to capture our day very well? Specifically, one thing, I have like a little checkbox question that says, like, how much do you love to dance, or how much do you love dance parties? Something like that, because at every single reception, I could be on the dance floor all the time. And there is no not at all option. It's a lot, a hell of a lot, or like, I freaking love it so much I can't stop dancing. Those are the 3 options. So right off the bat, people know exactly who I am, exactly the type of stuff that I feel like people know just based off that question, that I'm just going to be raging on the dance floor with them.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've been thrown in the air at a reception, let's just say.
That question alone will communicate so much about what it's like to be around you.
Yes, exactly. And that's the point. So that's number 1. Another very important thing that I have on my contact form, and this is very strategic because I know that I am really good at talking. Something I'm not good at is emailing. I feel I hate typing and communicating all of my thoughts and my excitement over things over an email, because it just always feels very inauthentic. But when I'm on the phone and when I'm talking to people, it's easy for me to just be excited because I actually am. So one of the questions I have in my contact form is, asking them if they are comfortable with me calling them within the next 48 hours and what time works best for them.
So smart.
Yeah. And so then it pretty much frees up this opportunity for me to reach out to them right away, text them and be like, okay, you said that this time worked for you. Does that still work for you? We're going to hop on a 20-minute call. It'll be really fast, I promise. And then normally it ends up being more than 20 minutes because we're just, we can't shut up. I can't shut up. And so that is just one very specific way that I address inquiries is I try to get people on the phone with me as quickly as possible. It doesn't have to be both of them. It doesn't have to be over like a video call. I prefer it not to be over a video call because I get a little uncomfortable on video calls. But it's something that I feel like a lot of people are more comfortable with because they don't have to be ready for it. They don't have to like look presentable in their eyes. I mean, I don't care if they look presentable necessarily either, but they care. So a phone call is just something that's really easy. And then it helps me. I had
someone the other day who was like, we'd love to Zoom, but honestly, we're all pretty burnt out on video chats, huh? Do you just want a phone call?
Literally.
I was like, yeah.
Yes.
That was so cool.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It's true.
Just an acknowledgement of like, this has all become a lot. Like, let's just
we're
talk
done.
on the phone.
It's so much pressure.
Yeah.
So much pressure. So yeah, so that's what I do. And then when they confirm their like phone call appointment with me, I'll just text them again and be like, no problem. I'll call you then. I just sent over my full pricing guide and like a bunch of full galleries for you to look through so that you can prepare any questions that you might have for our phone call. My pricing guide answers most of the questions, but everyone still has normally a few. And then that way, again, it's very simple and it's very easy, but it also just preps them for exactly what they're going to get. And most of the time, I'm the person that these people are talking to before they talk to anyone else. And
so
we
smart.
all know how much your first impression with like your first potential vendor can make a difference. I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past.
Yeah.
It's almost like your first love. I mean, I can't really talk about that much because I've only loved one person since I've been with them since I was 13.
Yeah, you
but
did
from
marry
what I've heard about people who have had multiple partners is that you always have a spot in your heart for your first love because it was your first experience.
I mean, there are songs written about it. The first cut is the deepest. The first cut is the deepest.
So yeah, that's what it's all based off of. You want to be that first impression because then anytime they think of, a photographer, Gabe's going to come to mind because I was the first person to actually have a genuine connection with them.
And on that phone call, is it like, yeah, let's book this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of it, I'll be like, okay, like take your time to think about everything. Like, let me know if you have any questions while you're thinking. This is what it looks like to move forward. And you can just text me, email me, or call me when you're ready to do that or not. And then, I mean, typically people aren't like, okay, send me the contract. Sometimes they are. But then like normally what happens is 30 minutes later, they're like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Like they just need to like talk to each other off the phone.
They just need to make sure. Yeah. Like No, that's such a relevant thing. Like you can be so sure that your partner thinks the same as you and then get off the phone and you're like, you thought the same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Exactly.
That's exactly
you
what
just
goes
have
through
to do
their
that.
heads. Yep.
So
what about you?
Well, first, before we move on, I love they get him on the phone right away. For a year, I've been saying I'm going to implement this. Maybe this is my sign to actually do it. I really love that. But so yes, you do that. I assume you email them back right away though, right?
I email them back right away.
And what goes in that email? It's
pretty much, most of it is, here's my pricing guide, here's a bunch of full galleries. I normally will have also texted them at that point. So I'll just say like, if you don't see my text, I just wanted to let you know I texted you to make sure that we were good to have our call at this time, yada, yada, yada. And my emails are extremely simple because most of the communication is done literally on the phone within 24 hours of getting the inquiry. Yeah, but you're just like,
here's full galleries to look at though in the meantime, et cetera, et cetera. Okay,
and every so often people will be like, no, like we're not ready to have a phone call. Like, and to me, that's when I'm like, okay, I can put a little bit more effort into this email now. Yeah. I'll kind of just go a little bit more into detail. And then sometimes I will email people back when they send me an inquiry and their budget is under, like much under what I charge. And I feel like that's a little bit more effective because I don't want to be like, just assume that they're going to be willing to up their budget to what I actually charge. So I'll just explain to them like, okay, I mean, we're going to talk about this later, right? So maybe I'll just skip that, but we'll get to that later.
Okay. Okay. I really like your process. Would this process work if you got more inquiries?
For me personally, yeah.
You think it would? Okay.
Yeah, because to me, like, I'm gonna get on the phone with people no matter what. And again, this all goes back to if I'm getting an overwhelming amount of inquiries where I'm like talking to people literally all day long, that is obviously my sign to up my pricing. So because and because I know that I do really well over the phone. I know that this is another reason why I think I have such a great turnaround. Or turnaround? What am I trying to say?
You mean like the amount of people who inquire to book?
To book, yeah. Inquire to...
Is there a word?
There's a word. I think there's
Conversion?
a word. Conversion rate.
What do you think?
Sure. We'll just say that.
Well, your conversion rate is so high.
Yeah, it sounds a little religious.
Okay.
No, I can convert so many people.
The conversion rate's so high.
No, but this is why I think it is because I get to be that first impression most of the time, and then I also just am really good at talking. So,
wow.
So if I was talking to people so much, that would just be my sign to up my prices.
Well, that answers my question about that. Alrighty then. So I can just kind of briefly go over mine.
Yeah.
It's not that different. My contact form on my website, I do call it a booking page, not a contact form. I've heard there's some psychological stuff about that. Like you're clicking that to book. You're not clicking
Is
to
it
chit-chat.
On your website, does it say booking info?
It says book me.
Book me.
Yeah, and that's my inquire page.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I've heard there's something there.
Yeah, because contact's very vague.
It's vague and non-committal.
Interesting.
Whereas the book me is like, oh, I'm serious. So there's
Brilliant.
that.
I love
And then
that.
my contact form is detailed, but not overly detailed.
Right.
I do try to hit a good balance of asking a lot of questions so I can get a sense of who they are. But I also don't want to be obnoxious about it.
Right.
I have seen
Ditto.
some booking forms that I think are a bit over the top.
Agreed.
And you just have to think about like, dude, maybe you're the only photographer or florist or whatever these people are reaching out to. More often than not, you are not.
Right.
So
that's
just
absolutely
keep that
true.
in mind. Like, I want the barrier to entry with me to be low.
Yes.
Like, I don't want it to be intimidating.
Yeah.
I do ask intentional questions.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about yourselves. Like, what are you like? What are you excited about? And keep in mind, if you're a photographer, they're probably reaching out to you first. So they might not have a lot of plans for their weddings yet. So don't get overly obsessed with like wanting to get their colors and their vibe and their style and aesthetic and all these things, because all of that is fickle and it can change. I ask a few questions like name, partner name. Oh my God, fucking take bride and groom out of your contact form right now. If it is, it's so tacky. Oh, there might be bride, there might be a groom. Like, get with the times. If I keep seeing contact forms that say bride groom names, to me that's an immediate like, you're an amateur and have so much growing up to do.
I think mine says your name and then name of your love muffin.
Oh, love it. See,
Yeah.
that's just another way you can make it more. Mine's boring now. It's just your name, partner's name. I try to keep
Boring.
that really boring. I can make that more interesting. But yeah, really, you guys, this is something I see on websites a lot, and it's extremely disappointing. Like, remove bride and groom out of your booking form. Like, get with the times and be inclusive. All right, that's my little sassy moment. Probably my only one for this episode. So there's that, and then I just ask, like, wedding date, location, tell me about you and your boo thing. Like, what are you excited about? Where'd you meet? Anything you want to tell me is chill. Like, I leave it that vague.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really looking for information on them to, like, sway me. I just want to get a sense of how they talk and you can get a lot from people's email style. I just give them some prompt to get something from them, and then it gives me something personal to comment back about. So that's about as much as I ask. I used to have a lot more questions, and I ask for estimated photo budget because sometimes that helps me in how I respond to them. So
yes, correct.
I keep it real chill. Oh, and I also ask if there's any work on my site they loved the most. And I just ask that so that I can send them those specific galleries. It's just like another way of impressing them. Like most people say the same wedding.
I think it also like makes sure that they're looking at your website too, and not just going straight to your book me.
Yeah. So my questions are
That's a great point.
Name, date, tell me something about yourselves. Do you have an estimated photo budget? Where did you find me? And was there any work on my Instagram or website that stood out to you?
Love that.
But I actually don't make that a required one because
love
I
that.
just want to give people an opportunity to share if they want. But if they do have weddings they really liked, it gives me a chance to just further impress them. So that's kind of what my contact form is like. And then right away, I try to respond to inquiries within a few hours if I can, 24 hours for sure. And right away, I'm just communicating excitement. I'm a natural excited person, so this comes easy to me. I think I'm more comfortable, it sounds like, with emails than Gabe is. I'm really good at emailing. I like emailing. I'm good at kind of communicating mood through it. And I make sure, if I can, if they gave me something personal, to comment on it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just like, wedding date, we're getting married, here it is. And those responses are shorter because if they're not giving anything to me, I don't want to give something back if they didn't give me anything to work with. But if they did tell me about themselves, they told me about their dog, maybe they tell me how much they love Harry Potter or where they met or their favorite drinks or something, I'll just try to find some point of connection. Like, oh my God, tell me about it. I love margaritas too. Living in San Diego's the best. Anything I can to connect with them, I try to do it right away. And then without even asking, I send them like 50 full galleries. And this is just something I do right away to impress them because I just want to communicate that I'm confident in my work. I'm confident in my ability to cover a wedding day from start to finish. I'm not trying to hold anything back. So my response back to them is brief, but I try to make it personal and not too information packed because I don't want to be overwhelming. I just communicate, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you. Yes, I am available. I love your venue. So funny you said this about your dog, whatever. Just throw a few personal things I can and then move into, if you want to check out some full galleries in the meantime before we talk, here are a bunch of links. Do you have any questions I can answer? Let me know. I'm so stoked to talk more.
Right.
And then at that point, that's usually the email that's like, hey, yeah, let's set up a call. Loved your work or whatever. But now I almost want to do Gabe's approach where I'm like, talk to me soon. But my question for him is I think I get too many inquiries to pull that off. I feel like I would be on the phone all the day, but that was already my sign a little bit. I feel like I need to take my advice from a previous episode and raise my prices and maybe cut down on the amount of inquiries I'm getting.
Agreed.
So
I think one quick thing to add to that is that we also really need to be good at understanding different people's communication styles too, because I mean, I'll hop on the phone with all of these people and I do handle every single phone call a little differently because you have to, I'm looking at it from like the business of sales. I need to be able to read who they are, what's important to them. And if they're people that love talking about their story, like I'm going to ask them a million questions about it. It should be very obvious in the beginning. But some people are very just like, just tell me exactly what you're going to do for me, how it's going to work.
You can tell when people just want to get to business.
Exactly.
And that's fine too. So
sometimes the calls are just a few minutes long.
That's kind of what I was trying to say, but he said it better when I was saying that if they don't give me a lot to work with personally, I just send them the info.
Right.
Because exactly like he's saying, some don't want the chit chat. That's chill with me. We'll chit chat later. So I try to honor whatever it seems like their process is. So that is how that works. And then I do try to set up a call or a video chat quickly, except I'm kind of like letting go of the video chats a little bit because I don't like getting ready if I don't have to. So anyways, that's that. Before we move on.
Yeah, get it.
I just want to take a break and give a shout out to our lovely sponsor, Freedom Edits. My life was kind of a disaster before Freedom Edits. And photographers, can you relate? Did you like sleep just a few hours? You wouldn't shower.
Don't lie.
You'd never work out. You'd forget to feed yourself. When I'm in like an editing binge cycle, my husband has to come in and be like, Cammie, when did you eat lunch? And I'm like, what's lunch? You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
what's lunch?
My life was getting really out of control, and having a team like Freedom Edits behind me has made all the difference in running my business with confidence. I feel like I can take a day off and relax if I'm feeling tired because I know the work is gonna get done. Whereas before I felt like I had to edit from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed every single day. This really has changed my life. I work out all the time. I'm hella strong now. I have a dog and I just love her. Like all these amazing things in my life I have because I found Freedom Edits when I did. And you guys, I was scared to do it. Worth every single penny. I just love them so much. So please check it out and just try it. It's not as scary as you think. They hold your hand through the whole process. Go to freedomedits.com/don't-take-this-personally to set up your free consultation onboarding call. They'll edit some free photos for you for free, so you can just like see how it goes. And then on your first order, you get 50% off using promo code CAMIGABE. Okay, do that. Now unpause into the topic. So I want to address another point to this of even if someone reaches out to you and they're low budget, don't be a dick.
Yeah. So something that I think I used to take for granted is people would reach out with a lower budget and immediately I'd just be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry. Thanks for being interested, but I think I'm out of your budget and yada, yada, yada. And what I didn't realize is that I was actually missing out on a lot of booking opportunities because a lot of people come into this not really understanding.
They have no idea.
They have no idea what it looks like to do what we do, how much it costs, how much it's worth until they start doing their research. And maybe their research started with you, but then you're going to kind of shun them away and they could potentially they're probably going to realize that it just costs a lot more than they thought. Yeah. But they're not going to be interested in you because you kind of shunned them a little bit.
I want to share
you didn't give them the time of day.
I want to share a story.
Yeah.
Why it's important to not be a dick and to be helpful and amazing to everyone who inquires. It's easy to be like, oh, these people aren't going to book me because I'm twice as much or whatever. So you just stop responding or something. We've all been guilty of that, I think, of just like, thinking it's a lost cause or whatever. But just a few weeks ago, I had a couple reach out to me on the Knot. They sent me an inquiry. I responded in my usual way. I sent them full galleries. And they were like, oh, we'd love to book an engagement session. And I was like, okay, so just so you know, like if you're not one of my couples, those are like $700. But if you are one of my couples, they're $400 as an add-on to your wedding package. So they were like, oh my God, what if... They were like, if that's how much engagement shoots are, how much is weddings? And so I sent them my pricing guide and she was like, I'm so sorry. This is really embarrassing, but I had not done any research. This is way out of our budget. I'm so sorry to take up your time. Like, this is...
what a cutie.
She was like, this is not going to happen. I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. I totally understand, but these are all the reasons I would like book your engagement shoot with your wedding photographer. And like, I was just kind of educating her on like, go, find someone that works and do both with them. So I was just kind of educating her on the process. I was not a dick. I responded kindly, responded to all of her emails. She came back a week later and was like, okay, thank you so much for helping me and for all your amazing responses. We just had no idea how much this cost. I now see if I want a photographer I love, this is what it's just going to have to cost. So I'm down. Like, let's do the 8 hours plus engagement or whatever. Like, I'm sold.
Brilliant.
And so that's just an example of like, don't write those people off. I got them to raise their budget by more than double.
Yep.
They didn't even pick like my lowest package. They were like, okay, we get it. Like, we get it.
You're
and
absolutely
so
right.
Just like, don't be a dick.
Yeah, and this happened to me like literally 2 weeks ago as well. Not even joking. It's almost the same exact situation.
Yes, be genuinely helpful and
exactly.
You're proving your value.
Yeah, and to top that off too, like when people are reaching out to you and when you want to be as helpful as possible, I think that it's easy for us as photographers to just assume that everyone knows exactly what they want and what they're doing. They don't.
No.
This is most likely their first wedding, hopefully their last. They literally don't know anything. They don't know anything about weddings. And we know so much.
Dude, they don't know anything about the thing we are a fucking expert in.
An expert. You're right.
There's so much room to blow them away and provide value.
Yes, it's so easy to like teach them things and show them things that they can do because they just literally have no idea. So go into every inquiry, every response, assuming they know nothing and to try to be as helpful as possible because that will sell yourself to them.
Yes, it will prove your value and you never know who you are going to turn on.
Correct.
Basically. I didn't mean that. That didn't mean that. You never know who you can... Oh my gosh, you know what I'm saying.
I'm laughing more at your scream.
I know. You don't know who you can get.
Yeah, you got it.
You just don't know. Just don't write off like smaller budgets or whatever because you just don't know. Prove your value and you may be able to change that. So
agreed.
That's that.
The last thing.
We have one little point.
Yeah. One thing we want to talk about specifically before we finish up is the idea of getting ghosted.
Ghosting.
And this is something that our industry takes very, very, very personally. And the reason is understandable. I know why people take it personally, and it's because our names are attached to our businesses. We are most likely the only people working for ourselves. And so it's very, very, very personal when someone that you've been talking to and potentially has been interested in booking you just kind of stops talking to you without explaining why.
And photographers in specific get pissed about this.
They get pissed, like and very sensitive.
The amount so sensitive.
It's true.
The amount of feeds I've seen in Facebook groups bashing couples because they got ghosted.
And Instagram, man, I see it all over people's stories.
I see it all. Oh my gosh, yeah, and people post about it in their stories. Okay, listen, here's a little tough love corner from Gaby Poo and Cami Poo. We are businesses.
Yes.
They do not owe us a response.
Yeah.
When I was getting married, I reached out to a bunch of photographers and I didn't follow up with all of them. Why do we expect that? Imagine how many emails they're writing. To me, they kind of don't exist in my radar until they are my couples. Like, and I also receive a lot of inquiries. So I honestly, I mean that I don't remember sometimes. Like to me, the breakup emails are almost worse because I'm like, wait, I forgot about you until now. Now I'm sad. So really, you guys, I just think that photographers act really entitled.
And something that we need to do is put ourselves in their shoes, because not only are they planning a wedding, which is a hell of a lot of work, they're also doing everything else they normally do.
Yeah.
A lot of them are working their full-time jobs. Some of them are still going to school. Some of them, have full-time relationships, yada, yada, yada. They have lives.
They don't owe us a response if they don't want to work with us.
Right. Like, I'm running a business, but I'm not planning a wedding on top of that right now. So how come I'm expecting them to be ultra communicative with everyone when they have so much on their plate? It's not fair of me. And then, of course, like, I understand it's really hard to separate yourself from your business, especially when your name is attached to it. I mean, my business is literally called Gabriel Conover Photography, but we have to be able to somehow do that so that we can handle these situations, because if your business was called something else, even, it might even be a little bit more helpful to be like, oh, they're not booking me, the Cali photographer, let's say that was my business name. I feel like that separation in general is just, it just makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. I mean, we all just get so sensitive about this, but I just want to encourage people to not get really excited about couples or inquiries until they are your clients. Like, do everything you can to impress them over email. But you guys, if they didn't reach out to you, they're not interested. Like, if you don't hear back from them, they're not interested.
Right.
Like, just, you don't need to follow up a bunch. Trust that if they're interested, they will reach out to you. I think kind of following up too much is kind of tacky. I was in a consultation last week with a couple where when we left the call, I was like, okay, so just so you know, you're not going to hear from me again. Like, when we leave this call, I assume you aren't moving forward, so you let me know. Like, I'm really clear about that. Like, I'm not holding the state. Like, you let me know. And they were like, oh, so you're not going to text me every day like all my other vendors? And
Dear
they both
God.
just like laughed at each other.
Oh my Lord.
And so
It's true though.
I was like, oh my gosh, have other vendors been driving you crazy? They were like, yeah, like we get texts from all of our other vendors we've inquired with every day, and like it's really weird.
Oh, that's
so
annoying.
You guys, if people are interested, they'll get in touch with you.
Max will reach out to them one time if they have it. Max.
That's only if we were like really vibing.
Yeah.
And
if I really had a good feeling about it.
Yeah, but don't be annoying.
Oh God.
Like, we're a business. Like, they don't owe us a response, and just like be classy.
Amen.
Is that it?
And on that note,
we're
closing out this topic.
See you on Clubhouse.
Thanks for joining us once again. We appreciate you all.
Tune in next week for our next spicy topic.
See you later.
Bye.